3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. And bring it in. Oh, okay, good. Little warm up. Very good. We'll get back to some of that. So today we're going to talk about athletic performance and the things we can do with breath work to enhance that. 3D Wellness teaches 3 areas of knowledge that can dramatically improve one's life: breathwork, supplementation, and food. In this class, we'll focus on breathwork. This is the 4th in a 4-part series about breathing. In this part, we focus on using breath to prepare your body for physical activity. There are a few quotes from the book Breath that I will share with you, and then we'll be practicing breathing for athletic performance. At any point, if you feel lightheaded, return to normal breathing. If you have any medical conditions that could be negatively stimulated by breathwork, please just follow along instead of participating in the exercises. Safety first. This is powerful stuff. Little CYA right there. All right, the book I'm referencing is this wonderful book by a man named James Nestor. It's called Breath. Whether you buy the actual book or you do the audio book, it's an incredible resource. I got into it at the start of COVID, and it was lovely to have a greater understanding of airways at that time. Some quotes. The perfect breath is this: breathe in for about 5.5 seconds, then exhale for 5.5 seconds. That's 5.5 breaths a minute for a total of about 5.5 liters of air. You can practice this perfect breathing for a few minutes or a few hours. There is no such thing as having too much peak efficiency in your body. We're going to talk about that today with athletic performance. The next quote says, willing ourselves to breathe slowly will open up communication along the vagal network and relax us into a parasympathetic state. In the previous workshops, we spoke about that parasympathetic state a whole bunch. It's that relaxed state. So far, the breathwork activities that we've studied have been to get that vagal relaxation. Not today. Next quote says, breathing really fast and heavy on purpose flips the vagal response the other way, shoving us into a stressed state. Now, the reason we would want to intentionally enter a stressed state is so our body can practice doing that. We're going to talk in a little bit about waste removal and how a certain type of breathing doesn't support waste removal. And that is a stressed state. So what we're intentionally doing is practicing a stressed state so our body gets familiar with it and understands how to deal with it better. Does that make sense? That makes sense? Kelly, you're a weightlifter. Since you've started to do things like deadlifts and squats, when you're carrying in something like groceries or picking up one of your kiddos, it's a whole different, right? Easy is what she said. It's like this whole different thing all of a sudden. We're doing the same thing for our breath here, for our nervous system here. I thought this was an interesting fact, so I just wanted to make sure it was on here. During rest, about 750 milliliters of blood, enough to fill a wine bottle, flows through your brain every minute. A wine bottle worth of liquid, of blood, flows through our brain every minute when we're at rest. For every 10 pounds of fat lost in our body, 8.5 pounds of it comes out through the lungs. Most of it is carbon dioxide mixed with a little bit of water vapor. The rest is sweated or urinated out. This is a fact that most doctors, nutritionists, and other medical professionals have historically gotten wrong. The lungs are the weight-regulating system of the body. Does that bring up some question?
I've heard this for 4 weeks now, and it just really hit differently today.
Oh, okay, right on.
Like, whoa.
Yeah, right on. The theory that I have about people starting to do a lot of cardio and losing weight, doing a lot of cardio to lose body fat is hormonally not the best way. But what it does do is it gets a person breathing a lot more. And if 85% of fat loss is done through the breath, you get a person who wasn't breathing a lot breathing more. The potential for fat loss is greater. That's what I think is going on. Might not be the best way to do it, but it still does it. We've become a culture of overeaters. We've also become a culture of overbreathers, with the average intake per breath of a half liter. And for the record, that's about half the volume it was in 1960. So people are either getting less air or having to breathe twice as often to get the same amount of air, because each breath is half of what it was. The fix is easy. Breathe less. But that's harder than it sounds. We've become conditioned to breathe too much, just as we've been conditioned to eat too much. With some effort and training, however, breathing less can become an unconscious habit. I've experienced that in my own life. I grew up a mouth breather. I slept with my mouth open. When I read this book and a few other that he references within there, started to apply those things, and now it's an unconscious habit to have better breathing, what do we call it, technique, hygiene, whatever you want to call it. Yeah. But the changes triggered by rapid industrialization of farmed foods were severely damaging. Within just a few generations of eating this stuff, modern humans became the worst breathers in Homo history, the worst breathers in the animal kingdom. That's from a book about breathing. It's not written by a nutritionist, wasn't written by Dr. Roy Lee, although it sounds like something Dr. Roy Lee would have said. I like to add that in there because we see that what we are eating influences us in so many ways, including our potential for good breathing. So today we're going to focus on something called the hold breath. And that's where you are intentionally holding your breath. The main benefits of intentional breath holding are increased lung efficiency and increased lung volume. So that's this thing right here, the black arrows. Air's going into your lungs, and then coming back out of your lungs. We want to see that's more efficient. We want to see it's less effort for your lungs to do their normal thing. Second thing we want to see is the blue arrows. We want to see the volume expand outward. We can actually get our lungs to change their shape and size for the better by being consistent with breath work. One of the ways that most directly affects that is holding your breath intentionally. Consciously choosing to hold your breath allows your body to practice dealing with waste and short supply of air. It often leads to lower cortisol levels because it makes shallow breathing less stressful on the body. Let's break down both of those ideas. When we are doing shallow breathing, let's say instead of using all of the green lungs, we're only going down to that line that's going across. We're not getting rid of as much waste. Little W's down here are waste. And if waste is collecting in the bottom of our lungs, and we're just breathing from here, we're not getting rid of all the waste. We're stressing out our lungs unnecessarily. That comes from a short supply of air. Separate from that, but also related, is that when we do that shallow breathing, our cortisol level is more likely to go up because our body is aware that we're not getting the good breath that we need to engage our calming nervous system response. That cortisol is going to go up when we do that shallow breathing until we're experts at breathing and we're always perfectly aware of how we're breathing. I'm not holding my breath for that. Get the joke? Thank you. We're going to practice holding our breath so that the times that we do shallow breathe, especially during stress, it's less stressful because our body is familiar with it. Does that make sense? We're practicing our suffering. We're choosing our suffering. So if we encounter this stuff, it doesn't hit us so hard. Because we're like, hey, I've done this before. I got through this. I can do this. That shallow breathing doesn't allow all that waste to get removed, which is another thing that will drive cortisol up. So this idea of good breathing, of from top to bottom, moving the air in the lungs, is going to help us on a number of levels decrease our stress hormones. That makes sense? Cool. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to take 25 to 30 breaths, focusing on filling and emptying your lungs. That's why this is up here. The focus is not on being perfect. You got to breathe through your mouth, breathe through your mouth. You got to breathe in through your nose, breathe through your nose. You got to switch. You got to alternate. You need to stand on one foot while you do it. Just do it, okay? We're doing 25 to 30 breaths, and they're not going to be perfect. We're deciding right now. We're just going to focus on filling up all of these chambers and then emptying them. We really want to feel like the bottom of our lungs are coming together, okay? On about the 25th or 30th breath, we're going to exhale 75% of the air in our lungs. Okay, we're going to breathe out 3/4 of the air that we feel we got. We're going to hold that, just like the box breathing. I want you to feel your body do what it's designed to do, which is be efficient. I want you to feel your heart rate. and I want you to choose to slow it down. Okay? You're going to tell your heart rate, I'm doing this for our benefit. Okay? We're going to calm it down. After holding for as long as you are comfortable, breathe out the rest of that 25% air you were holding, and then breathe in. That makes sense? What I'm going to do so that I really don't mess this up is I'm going to tally on the board how many breaths we've done. And at the 25th breath, you will breathe out 75% of the air and then hold. Just until you feel like, oh, it's time for me to breathe in. Might be 10 seconds, might be a minute, doesn't matter. Okay. There are people who are live in the studio audience. Would it help you if there was a tempo going for you to do your in and out?
I think so.
That help you? Okay. Then we're going to set the tempo based on what feels good for you. These breaths, we want 2 to 3 seconds in, 2 to 3 seconds out. Okay? So, if I take it down to 60 beats per minute, and I put it in 3/4. So, how's that tempo feel? Too slow?
I think so. I think it's too slow. We're starting.
Try this one. Is that better? Yeah? Okay. We'll try it. All right, I'm going to start tallying. I'll call out numbers as we go, of course, just so you know where we're at. We're going to start on in. Ready, set, go. In. Out. 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 5 more. In. Fill up those lungs. Out. Empty the lungs. In. Fill them up. Out. Empty them out. In. Out. In. Out. 1 more in. In. Breathe out 75% of your air. Feel your body doing what it is designed to do. Feel your heart rate. Feel it slowing down. Feel your body adapting to this state. Breathe in when it feels comfortable for you to breathe in. There is no wrong time to breathe in. Feel your body doing what it is designed to do. It is calming down. It is finding its center. Once you start breathing, just do as normal of a breath as you can. Doesn't matter if it's your nose or your mouth. Just make it comfortable. Feel what your body was doing. Good. What was that like?
Yeah, a little weird.
Yeah. So the first time I did this, my hands and my feet got crazy tingly. Like almost uncomfortably tingly. Yeah.
Like halfway through it is when I could feel my heart rate start to speed up for sure.
You're engaging that nervous system in that way, and your body's like, yo, what is... Yeah.
The after effect is wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah, regular breathing. So
Right?
relaxed.
Right? Is that wild?
It feels like a relief. Yeah.
So part of what's going on with that is when we're holding that breath, the tissues all around our lungs, there's a lot of connective tissue in the rib cage and all that, is learning how to exist in a different state. We're doing those big breaths in and letting them all the way out. We're flexing all that material, and then we let them go back to a place where the lungs are relatively deflated, and the tissues of the rib cage can just sit how they want to sit and kind of recover from that stretching exercise we did 25 times in a row with the big in, full empty. So then after that, your rib cage is like, hey,
Yeah.
I feel warmed up.
Yeah, it felt
Right?
like a relief just to go back to normal more than before.
So whenever I'm doing exercise, I like to do this kind of breathing before it, because everything in my torso feels better during the exercise then. Whether it's cardio or resistance training, it just feels better after that. I feel like this part of me moves better. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. It's in a more relaxed state.
Yeah. I move the pieces, they're like warmed up. Yeah.
Especially before cardio, because I feel like half the battle of cardio is just
Right.
telling your body this is what we're doing,
Yep.
like on a treadmill.
For more than 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Right? All right, if you're comfortable with it, what I would like to do is do another set of 25. I want to bump up the tempo. So when we bump up the tempo, the response we get of that engaged mode gets heightened. So the faster we do the in and out, the more engaged we get. Okay. We just did 64 beats per minute. We're going to take it up to 72 beats per minute. So not a huge jump. It doesn't need to be a huge jump. We're still going to see a pretty marked response in terms of what we feel afterwards. I'm going to pick a different color. Orange has been used today. I'll tally with orange. The goal is going to be 25 again. Any questions before we jump into that? Cool. And we're going to start to breathe in. Ready, set, go. In, two. Out. In. 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 All the way in. Empty it out. In. Big in. Empty it out. In. Out. In. Out. In. Out. In. Out. 5 more. Big in. Here it is. In. Out. All the way empty. In. Out. Big empty. In. Out. Move those ribs. In, out. One more. Here it is. In. And let 75% of that out. And feel your body doing what your body is designed to do. Feel your heart rate. Feel it slowing down. Feel your nervous system changing based on what you just did and becoming more adaptable. Your body is learning how to deal with stress better right now. Feel it working. Feel your heart rate. Calm it right down. Let your body do what it is designed to do. And when it feels right to breathe out, let the rest of that air out. Let it come back in. Lori with the dramatic improvement in the length of time. So you did 48 seconds and 52 seconds. That's really good. That's really good. For just 2 rounds, I recommend people do 2 to 4 a day. If you get routine with this, to start at that place, that's a great starting point. You jumped up by like 25 seconds in your second round. Yeah. Isn't that beautiful? Didn't feel longer, right? But because you've put your nervous system in this state where you cleared waste and you taught your body we can deal with cortisol and I'll give you good air to get through it, immediately your body chemically changes and goes, I got this. I'm good. Isn't that wild? That was 3 minutes of breath work to elicit that response. Now, the goal is we do 2 to 4 cycles of this kind of breath work every day. Once we're in a routine of doing this, I really like it in the morning for the sake of routine. But if I know I have a lot of yard work to do, or I'm going to work out at a certain time, or I'm going to do something physical, I will save this for before I go do that. It kind of primes your body to deal with the workout, the hike, the tree trimming, whatever. Okay? Questions about this breathing style? Yeah, you're still feeling the effects. Yeah.
Would you recommend using a metronome or just go at it? Because sometimes the more things I have to gather to do one thing stops me from doing the thing.
Totally.
So anyway, and I could just sit there and breathe.
And just breathe.
What do you recommend?
Yeah, the goal will be, without the metronome, is feeling the lungs fill and then emptying them. That's your focal point then. Instead of the click of the beat, it's more the, okay, I'm going to feel all down here in my back go, and then come back in.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, then you don't need the tempo part of it. Yeah. Thank you. UPS is awesome to us.
And then second one, I felt some of the tingles.
Yeah, the tingles?
And then I felt a little in my back, underneath my shoulder blade.
Yeah.
There's muscles back there.
You might have moved something, right? Something that's been tight in a certain position, then you started to move it at a different plane, different axis. Yeah. Cool. So please feel free to use this video to guide your breath work in the future. I really like the idea of having this on YouTube so that people can, if they like the metronome, have the metronome there. But like you were asking, you don't have to do it with the metronome. You just make your focal point the lungs filling, top to bottom, and then emptying bottom to top. Thanks for being here. Thanks for watching.